I'd love to begin this transmission with a little guided visualization, so feel free to close your eyes for the next few minutes and just listen to the sound of my voice as I guide you through a journey using your imagination. And remember that the stronger your imagination is, the more useful this guided meditation will be. Begin by visualizing yourself chillin' at home, in the comfort of your abode, in the coziest spot you can imagine. Maybe underneath your covers, maybe snuggled on your couch, maybe some soft music is playing, maybe a candle is lit. Take in all the sights of the room around you. Smell the smells of this amazing space, and hear the natural ambience of your beloved home. Breathe into this feeling of comfort, of tranquility, of safety, of independence. Let this moment be completely still. Let yourself be completely protected. And now hear a knock at the door. Walk to the door, feel your hand on the doorknob, turn it and open the door, and see in your threshold an absolutely beautiful, stunning person that you've never met before, with a radiant smile, holding a sweet treat that they baked for you. Hear as they introduce themselves as your new neighbor. Really hear their voice in your head. Visualize their outfit, their hair, their facial expression. Feel your hands brush against theirs as you take the gift from their hands and invite them inside. Lead them to your sitting area and sit directly across from them. And just admire their beauty and soak in the excitement of having a new friend. Breathe into this feeling of potential, of possibility, of connection, of love. And now simply observe as this neighbor, without meaning to do anything wrong, begins to violate some of your unspoken house rules. Maybe they put their shoes on your couch. Maybe they take a book off a shelf and don't put it back. Maybe they leave crumbs all over your floor as they're eating their gift to you. Feel the emotion that arises as they do this. The discomfort, the confusion, the betrayal, the stress, and do nothing. Before you try to correct and redirect, just breathe into this feeling of discomfort and make an attempt to understand why your neighbor is behaving this way. And despite the ways in which they've triggered you, allow yourself to accept them. Allow yourself to continue opening your heart to them. And now allow yourself to gently express to them what you might prefer for them to do, patiently, without judgment, just as a way to share yourself with a new friend. And now observe their face as they hear you, as they smile and nod, and heave a sigh of relief of understanding. And watch your new neighbor correct their behavior to suit what you requested. Breathe into this reverence for the power of communication. Breathe into the expansiveness of connection with good communication. Breathe into the acceptance of others' differences. And now shift this visualization to bring to mind the faces of all the people that you've shared space and community with in your recent memory. See them for all the traits you admire, all the traits you've silently judged, all the things you relate to, all the things you couldn't understand, and love them regardless. And as you see this montage of faces, visualize yourself embracing all these people in a group hug of understanding, of overcoming differences, of deep, true connection. Breathe into this feeling of connection, of love. Say thank you to all the people in your life, and gently open your eyes. I've been thinking a lot recently about how the price of community, the price of connection, is often annoyance, discomfort, inconvenience, and how in general as a society, we've shifted towards self-isolation, hyper-independence, as a means of protecting our energy. But the consequence of that is stagnancy, is a lack of growth, a lack of being challenged. And I want to tell you a story about my own journey, overcoming this fight-or-flight instinct to self-isolate, and instead choosing to put aside my judgment, put aside my fear, readjust my boundaries, in order to find connection and community with other people. Because let's face it, no one's identical to me, but that shouldn't stop me from making a new homie. Peace and love, y'all. Hello and welcome to another moment of stillness. My name is Itai Atula and I'm coming to you live from Berlin. I'm currently on No Place Like Home, Europe's biggest yoga tour. After traveling all across Asia for a year and studying under yoga masters, I've decided to come back to the Western world and teach free yoga classes to the people who need it most. That's why I'm here in Berlin, and that's why I'm coming to you with this transmission today. Berlin has this intense electric energy, and I, having come here to teach yoga, have had to grapple with how I fit into this city, with what this city really has to teach me. And you know, this journey all started with me linking up with my sister here in the beautiful city of Berlin. She's been doing a little solo travel of her own before getting ready to go back to architecture school in the fall. And luckily, by the grace of God, my tour has overlapped with her solo travel, and we spent 3 beautiful days here together in Berlin. And I was so happy to see her, but I also felt a little bit of tension coming up in our interactions, because she was telling me all about these wonderful, wild, unbelievable experiences she was having in all the clubs in Berlin. And in case you didn't know, Berlin has this amazing, vibrant clubbing scene of dancing and techno and raving that can be very spiritual for many people. And ever since I got into yoga, I've not been a very nocturnal person. I've been completely sober. And although I love to dance, I prefer to do it in the daylight. And so I felt myself subconsciously, without even meaning to, judging my sister and judging the other people participating in these activities just because it's not what I want for myself. How foolish of me to think that I knew what someone else needed better than they do. And I didn't mean to do this. I didn't share any of these words with my sister. I was just thinking it. But I had to catch myself as I was having the these thoughts and realize I actually don't know nothing. But before I had that metacognition of, wait, what are you talking about? Why are you judging this behavior? I had this intense desire, this urge to self-isolate, to go la 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 la, put my fingers in my ears and stop listening to my sister. I was sticking up my nose and I was thinking, I'm here to teach a yoga class. I cannot hear another word about all of this delinquent clubbing behavior. I really thought that the right thing to do was to get away from all of it and stay in my tiny comfort zone, believing that that would give my students a better experience. How foolish I was. And as I was reflecting on that urge, I came back to this idea, this duality of, on the one hand, having this desire to protect my energy, on the other hand, having this desire to have an open heart. And the theme of all my solo travel adventures for the past 2 years has been balancing those two. And in that friction that I noticed, this feeling of judgment of, I am not that, I realized why I've ended up here in Berlin, why I've decided to go around this tour in Europe in the first place. And the reason is very simple. I'll explain it as my friend told it to me. It's very easy to be holy and calm and grounded and spiritual in an ashram, in the middle of nowhere, isolated in the woods. It's much harder to feel centered in all those ways, feel proud of your behavior, feel in control of your thoughts when you're around your family, especially when you're in a big city around your family, because there's just so much more stimuli, so many more distractions, so many more abrasive energies trying to get at you. And it would be really boring, really immature for me to ignore the totality of Berlin's beauty, to just say, I'm just here to hug trees and be in the park and connect with other yogis. I don't want to hear about any of those substances. I don't want to hear about any of that loud bass music. Keep it away from me. That's how I felt for a moment, until I realized that the universe was challenging me. The universe was inviting me to radically accept and let go of judgment and see what I had to learn from this city, because I believe that every teacher is simultaneously a student and vice versa. So before I could confidently, comfortably go and lead a class, I had to learn a little something from Berlin. And what I learned was to let my energy be flung about a little bit and see where it left me. Rather than feeling so fragile that I needed to protect myself and shield myself from the realities of the world, I decided to expose myself and observe my body, observe my thoughts, and see where it left me. And I've really enjoyed that process. I've noticed that it's comfortably expanded my edge. And you know, I did have a really wonderful class in Berlin yesterday. There was a huge turnout, and it was so good to see so many beautiful angels who resonate with the things I share, who inspire me with their own sadhana, with their own spirituality, who gave me generous gifts like crystals and plushies and snacks, and who I could look at and see myself. It was very easy to see myself in the people who came to my yoga class. That's why I love sharing online, because it creates community and it magnetizes like minds to each other. But at the same time, as I was leading that class in the park, seeing people who understood me, who got me, I didn't feel very challenged. I felt a little too safe. I felt a little stagnant, because although it was a beautiful energy exchange, it wasn't anything new, wasn't anything I've never experienced before. And as humans, we are meant to continue flowering, continue blooming, continue growing towards the sky. And for me to be a good teacher to my students, I have to keep growing. And so I vowed, after the comfort and the coziness of that class, the familiarity of that class, to open myself up to Berlin, to see what it had to offer. And believe it or not, y'all, this yogi went to the club. Last night I went to the club, but it wasn't any old club. It was this place called Quia, which is unlike any club I've been to before. Actually, the people in the yoga class told me to go there because they knew I would love it. And it was nice because it wasn't a really energetic, aggressive, intense club. It was a nice middle ground for me to gently expand my edge. So Quia is a strictly shoes off club. No shoes allowed. The floor is covered in carpets and pillows and blankets, and everyone is very hushed there. Everyone is very cozy there. There's one silent room where ambient music is playing, and there's one whisper room where people are having gentle conversation. And as I was walking into the club, as I was rounding the corner onto the block, I heard from across the street, "Oh my God, you're Itai, right?" And at this point, for better or for worse, I'm a bit numb to hearing those words, accustomed to being recognized, comfortable with that validation. And I'll admit I heaved a little bit of a sigh of relief that as I was getting ready to get uncomfortable in this club, somebody who understood me, somebody who saw me, somebody who could validate me would be there too. Turns out the person who recognized me not only thanked me for my teachings and told me how similar we are, but they actually told me they're going into the same club. So me, my tour manager Charity, this lovely girl who recognized me, and her friend, the four of us all went into this club. And as we were walking in the club, this girl was telling me about how my breathwork techniques helped her heal her anxiety, how different yoga postures that I taught have helped her fall asleep, how the vocal activations that I teach help her fall asleep, and how my guided meditations help her heal her inner child. And as she was saying this, we were sat down in the club, in the whisper room. She pulls out a bag of powder and she says, "Do you want some ket?" And that was a real moment of learning for me. I had to figure out in my tiny little brain how this girl could in the same breath be talking about yoga and hard drugs. I had to put my ego aside, put my stubbornness aside, and accept that I don't know it all, that everybody needs something different. And I could never know what somebody needs more than they do. And I was proud of myself because right before I went to judge this person, me being a sober yogi, I had to look in her eyes and silently just accept her as she was, and accept that maybe she knows something I don't. It's not that one of us is right and one of us is wrong. It's that we're all right. And the most valuable thing I could have done done in that moment was to let go of any assumptions I had about what I thought was right. Resist the urge to self-isolate and just be there. Breathe into the moment, be present, have an open heart, be loving. That's what Berlin taught me. The price of connection and community is discomfort, is annoyance, is frustration, is misunderstanding. And through navigating that friction, not only do we expand ourselves, but we uplift the collective consciousness. We live in a world now with so much division, so much groupthink, so much otherness. And so I'd like to end this transmission with a little call to action. I challenge you to find a moment of tenderness with somebody radically different. Someone who you might stick up your nose at. Can you find a moment this week to share connection with somebody like that? To seek it out, to give a gift, to be kind, to listen, and to accept that maybe you don't know it all. If we all make a practice of this, we will be opening ourselves up to receive the messages that the universe is dying to send us. To expand our heart, to expand our boundaries, and to hold people until one day we can inevitably be mothers to the entire earth, cradling all of existence in our arms, with no conditional love, with no judgment, with pure acceptance and reverence for all that is. I invite you to let me know in the comments below, what is one of those moments where you found connection in a place you didn't expect to, where you were rewarded for getting out of your comfort zone, for letting go of your judgments. Please tell me that story, I can't wait to read it. I love you so much. Thank you for taking the time today to listen to this transmission. I'll see you next time. Peace and love.